Why is Terence Crawford using ESPN and social media to negotiate the Errol Spence Jr. fight? Let's get into it, y'all. So, why is Terence Crawford using channels like Blue Blood Sports TV? No disrespect to Blue Blood, but he did spread some false information. Whether it came straight from Terence Crawford or not, it was still the wrong information to be putting out to the public. And why is he going to ESPN and having them use their platform to not only smear the name and bash Errol Spence Jr. and the PBC, but also negotiating in the public space? Why would Terence Crawford go this route? Me personally, I think it's because when you're negotiating something, normally you're not supposed to allow the public to know the terms of the negotiating process or the contract until after the contract's released to the public, because it's an ongoing negotiation. So in some circumstances, you can be sued for this. And I think this is why Terence Crawford is using these channels, these sports platforms, and the biggest voices in sports to push his narrative. Because what they can do is they can say, well, this came straight from Terence Crawford or someone in Terence Crawford's camp. But when Terence Crawford goes into the negotiating room and they ask him, why are you out here spreading false truths, he can say, well, I told them that in confidence. It wasn't something that I asked them to release to the public. And that can save him from being sued. So I think this is the reason why he's actually negotiating in the public space. Not only that, it allows him to let the public know that it's not him that's holding the fight up. Well, I asked for this. I'm a champion. I've done this. I was 130 champion. I was undisputed. And I deserve to get whatever I want, basically. And if he doesn't get that, well, he goes to social media. He goes to his friends at ESPN. He goes to Mike Coppinger. He goes to Max Kellerman. And he tells his side of the story. That's the problem sometimes with social media. We all want our story to be told. We all want our side of the narrative to be told. We all want you to hear our side, but we don't always give both sides of the coin. I try to be as unbiased as possible. Even though I favor Errol Spence Jr. in this fight, it doesn't mean that I'm going to make up news for Errol Spence Jr. to make him look better in the eyes of people watching this negotiation go back and forth. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't benefit me as a fan or as a boxing channel to spread the wrong type of information. I know at the end of the day that the only way this fight is going to come to fruition is for both sides to come to grips with the terms. Now, there's a lot of stuff going on surrounding this fight. That's not only what's going on with the world and, you know, how horrible it's been for the past couple of years and that affecting the sport of boxing and boxing purses, but it's that hidden reason with Terence Crawford, the fact that yes, you were a star at 130. Yes, you was a star at 140. Yes, you were Bob Arum's biggest payday on Top Rank. But at the end of the day, boxing had changed by the time you hit the big scene at Top Rank Boxing. The sport had already changed. Boxing purses had already changed. Floyd Mayweather had milked the sport so much, people were not willing to pay for the events anymore. So now you have to start dropping the price on everything. Dropping the price for the gate. Dropping the price for the pay-per-views. Dropping the price for this, that, and the third. So Terence Crawford needs to understand that the landscape is not the same anymore. Bob Arum was offering you a special deal, a one-of-a-kind deal, and you walked away from that deal to go make new deals for yourself, and there's nothing wrong with that. But you have to understand that the price that you were able to negotiate with Bob isn't the same price you're going to be able to negotiate with Al. Number two, and I shout out D-Town Boxing on this one because I heard this through his channel, so I'm not going to take credit for putting this information out there. But I do remember that PBC was sued on behalf of Bob Arum and Top Rank because they were saying that they were paying their fighters too much, and it was forcing Bob Arum to have to renegotiate contracts with his fighters because they were seeing what was going on over there, or fighters were wanting to leave him because they were seeing what was going on over there. Now, that was a totally different time. PBC has changed their philosophy and the motto and the way that they pay their fighters, and Terence Crawford seems like he wants to go over there and get what those fighters were getting 5, 6, 7 years ago, and it's just not happening anymore. So money is an issue in this fight, but at the end of the day, the real issue is Terence Crawford doesn't really see his worth, what he's truly worth out here, because he passed up on a lot of golden opportunities. He devalued himself, and Errol Spence, being the type of fighter that he is, being the warrior that he is, jumped on those golden opportunities because he knew if he didn't jump on them, who was going to jump on him eventually once he got the price that he wanted? Terence Bud Crawford. Now, it's funny because I think if you would have saw a Crawford versus Ugas or a Crawford versus Thurman, I think those guys would still be arguing it out. You know, Manny Pacquiao, because he's already a global superstar, didn't have to go through a real big negotiating process with Thurman or Ugas. And the Ugas fight I really take out of it because it was put together so quickly. It seems shady. But the Thurman fight, let's take the Thurman fight. Manny Pacquiao didn't have to do a lot to get that Thurman fight. He didn't have to command a lot. You didn't hear Keith Thurman complaining about the terms. You did hear him say he was injured before the fight, and that was his excuse for losing. But you didn't hear him arguing the terms of the fight or saying, well, Manny Pacquiao wants this dollar amount, or I'm just a bigger star of Manny Pacquiao. He's a fighter of the past. No. Keith Thurman saw that fight for what it was. If I beat Manny Pacquiao, I'm going to be a bigger star than Errol Spence and Terence Crawford. And, you know, I respect Keith Thurman a lot for taking that fight because he didn't have to risk his future for Manny Pacquiao. And he did it. He got beat. He accepted it. And, you know, it's sad that you have fighters like Terence Crawford and to the lesser extent Errol Spence Jr. that are rated as the best fighters in the world at this point. These are the pinnacle of boxing, welterweight boxing. But it seems like the pinnacle of boxing doesn't want to face up with any equal competition. Now, those guys might not be as popular as you, but those guys can fight just as good as you. And I think this is the reason that you see Terence Crawford going to these other channels, going to ESPN, and trying to negotiate a contract in the public space. It's to save face. It's because he knows in his heart of heart this is equal competition, and he knows in his heart of hearts if he loses, it's a wrap. Think about that. If Terence Crawford loses this fight, this is my last point. If Terence Crawford loses this fight, what is left for Terence Crawford in the sport of boxing? You know, what is left for him to do as a welterweight? Because we all know there's only 2 routes to take after that. If Errol Spence beats him and takes that WBO belt away from Terence Crawford, either Errol Spence is going to start fighting the younger fighters of the 147 division, or he's going to move up to 154. And it's going to leave Terence Crawford in the background. Number one, he's going to either have to re-sign with Bob Arum, or he's going to have to sign with PBC and just become a journeyman. And I know a lot of people don't want to feel like that about Crawford, but at the end of the day, if he loses, Crawford becomes a journeyman. He'll be the next Sean Porter. Y'all hit that like button for me. Share, subscribe. Holler at me down in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. It's your boy, Cardinal Bud Crawford, or E.S. Red, if that's what you want to call me. And we are Manny.
I ain't even got to do too much talking because I know what's going to happen come Saturday. Yeah. Is you ready for me? 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 Nigga. Spotless. Check it. Check it. Is you ready for me?